what's going on, but what I do know is going on is that we started. Oh my God, we started. Yes, we did.
Use that ridiculous voice.
I don't know. It's because I get excited because we have just started. My safe word is more. My name is Al Jackson, but that's not really that important. You know what is important, guys, is that my incredible, my lovely, my super dope co-host, Mrs. Corinne Kaplan, is in the MF building. Corinne, how are you?
I'm great. I feel like you just made me married. Mrs. Corinne Kaplan. Let's not confuse the audience.
Is that old school?
Yes, it's Miss or Ms., but Mrs. indicates that I have somehow found some poor schmo to marry me, and I have not.
Unless you are a dom, and you're like, I'm Mrs. K, and you're about to get this paddling today, bruh. And you're about to get it for $300.
Business end of this riding crop.
Yeah, exactly. What would you charge an hour as a dom?
Let's see.
Business planning with Corinne.
Okay, I'm not even going to tell you what I would charge because this is such a perfect lead-in. Okay, so I have a game that I've decided we're going to make out of this segment.
Okay.
And it's because I was trying to come up with a name like, have you ever played Smash or Pass?
No.
Okay, so it's basically, would you hook up with this person or would you pass on this person? So
Okay.
I didn't want to call it Smash or Pass because that's already a game in existence. So we're going to call ours Bang or Buy.
Or buy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Will I bang him or buy? Like, say goodbye.
I am, buy with the,
Like,
I
bye-bye.
I was going buy with the U. You're going buy with the Y-E.
Oh.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna kick it off with this one just because you happen. I have no idea if you're reading my mind or living
Or
inside my
going
head.
through your trash at night or
So
when you're
yeah,
on the
so
road.
we're gonna give It's so crazy that you just asked me how much I would charge. This is okay. So I have 3 contestants for Bang or Buy, and I would like the audience to feel free to write us with your Bang or Buys. So not only will we take advice questions, but you can throw like what I'm gonna throw to you now, and you can ask us to vote whether we would bang them or say bye. Okay, so here's the first candidate. Now, I was in Phoenix this week for a work conference, which we'll get to in a minute. And this person wrote to me on my personal Instagram, like in the stranger danger box. He said, "Hello, my name is Thud." He has a last name, but I'll skip it. I don't know why that's his first name.
If your name's Thud, you that's what you go by.
You should just end it there.
Like if you're going by Sting, like you don't need it doesn't need to be Sting McMillan. We got it. It's just Thud.
Right.
Word. Okay.
He does give me his last name, though. And he says, "I am a web developer and co-founder. I am based in Orlando, Florida. I hope this meets you at a good time. I was going through my newsfeed and I bumped into your profile. You look gorgeous. And I mean no offense saying this, but would you be my sugar baby for a weekly of $500?
A weekly?
Weekly.
Of 500?
I thought this was low.
It's incredibly low.
I wasn't sure if
my
you were
goodness.
going to be like, bitch, I thought it would be $500 a month. $500 a week is not enough to do anything.
No.
I
Look,
couldn't live on $500 a week.
bro. Look,
That's poverty level.
I would think 500 for 7 to midnight. Anything after that, it's 100.
Yeah, overtime.
Right, exactly. Like, yeah, first of all, I just said 500 from 7 to midnight, which is $100 an hour. And then obviously, I told you guys my major was biology. So I'm going to say that's crazy low. I would look, a high-end escort, which is what Sugar Baby is. It's an it's an escort.
Well, I was wondering, so I don't know a lot about this. I know I have a lot of guy friends, like too many guy friends, that have met their significant others and like married them off of Sugar Baby websites.
Right.
And I didn't know that was a thing. But one of my close guy friends said to me one time, he's like, "Look, I'm going to have to pay for your dinner. I make more money than the girl always." He does well. And he's like, and so basically, without us saying outright, I am going to have to be responsible for much of the cost of everything. That is the situation. So why wouldn't I go to a website where the girls are much prettier and they're honest about what they want? And he ended up marrying a girl off of it.
And you know what? It's the same way that people that are air quotes like straight and narrow, I don't do any kind of perverse sexual things and things. You know what? On those air quotes perverse sexual websites, which they are not, but anything like Field or especially for my brothers and sisters in the LGBTQ community, they have better relationships because they put it out there immediately. I am a bottom or I am a dom top with a water sports fetish. And then you go, hey, I'm not down with that, or I'm down with these two. Can we talk about that? But for cis het whatever the hell normal boring people, we think that it's like cute to go into a relationship not knowing. So okay, Corinne, we've been on 3 dates. Do I just go for it and try and give you a kiss? Will that end me up on a blog saying that he sexually attacked me? Do I know if you want your hair pulled in bed? Do you know if I want to be pegged in bed? You don't know any of these things, and you can't bring it up because now that you're together, now it's like, will he think I'm a freak if I tell him I like, this? I really love the fact that he's like, yo, not only did I not judge this woman for saying what she wants, that I married her because she's legit. And what she was like, yo, I'm good looking. I'm not paying for dinner. And to be out with me, it does bring you some social clout. And when you walk in a room with you are an attractive person. You can work the room like old girl in like Sharon Stone in Casino. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of dudes that are just like, yo, this is who I'm with. And I think they pay for it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not somebody, I make a good living, and there's just like levels. I don't cast aspersions, like, do you? But we can agree that in a bang or buy situation, this is buy, because there's no way 500 is adequate. Come at me with a way bigger 15,000 a week, and then I'm thinking about you, thud. Oh. I'm thinking about possibly crossing over into this field.
And you know what? There's some dudes that are like 15,000 is lowballing. I'll give you 20. Money does not bring people that already have a lot of money happiness anymore. It's just this thing that is, and they quickly are bored with it because they can do anything. You want to rent a helicopter? Sure. We did that last weekend. Mm-hmm. What they cannot buy is somebody that brings entertainment and spontaneous joy and laughter in their life. And it's somebody with your kind of personality, somebody with my kind of personality. I can liven up a rich, boring person's life. And
I can spend your money.
Exactly. And you should be able to put a price on that.
You made me think of something else interesting. So this past summer, I dated a guy for a little while.
What's a little while in your book?
It wasn't a very long time. We met. I guess. I mean, we got time. I can just tell the story. Yeah. I have actually made a TikTok about this because it was so ludicrous. So we met. Was
the person ludicrous? No, he's married.
Yeah. No, but I do know Luda. He married a girl who was. So I went to dinner with him once, and he had a new girlfriend at the time, and we were at dinner with a group of friends, and I was sitting next to him, and he was like, yeah, so, it was right after my first season of Survivor. He's like, oh, like, so-and-so told me you were on Survivor. I said, yeah. And he goes, where was it? And I was like, the trashiest, worst place in Africa, a country called Gabon. You have never heard of it. And he goes, this is my girlfriend. She's from Gabon. And he married her. So it was such a shitty circumstance. Like, I spent like a good lead up, like explaining how you would never go to this area of Africa, and this is where, yeah. Now he's married to her.
Wait, okay. So what's the next words out of your mouth after you were told that you were seated next to
honestly,
a Gabonian citizen?
I stuck with it, and I was like, it's pretty bad, right? Like, I leaned into it, and she was like, yes, there's a disparity between, the villages and the rich, because there's rich people, Gabonese, that are like the king and all of his sons, but everyone else is shitting in holes in the ground.
Right.
So,
yeah. And again, there's honesty in what you said. Mm-hmm. Was it a little direct? Yeah, but we got to the point. It's not great. It's not great there.
It's not great there. Okay, so back to this guy I was dating over the summer. I met him on Bumble, and when we met and we matched, we started talking, and he was very evasive about like what he did for a living, and I usually try and get to that information. In this case, when we matched, he was like, I have to be honest. I'm in town. I don't live here, but I have a second house in like the mountains in Colorado, and I was like, okay, that's not great, but he was really cute, and I thought, well, like let's exchange numbers, and just to like make sure he was a real person, I reverse, searched the phone number, which came directly up as his business, which I then knew what he did for a living. He's like a huge YouTuber who does like financial analyst stuff.
Okay.
Anyways, he says to me, and this is going to get, just bear with me, it's going to get a little dark before it gets light, okay?
That's fine. I like dark.
You're not going to like this. So he says to me, I'm in town because my nephew drowned in a bathtub this weekend. And so you'll have to excuse me. I'm not sure like when I can see you. Like I'm going through like this trauma. And he was like, and he had said at the time like the nephew was 8, and I was like, could he stand up in the bathtub? Turns out he lost consciousness and died. Anyways, very, very sad. But he says to me, like, I am interested in meeting you. And so I said, okay, let's go to Bigsby's Folly, my favorite winery here. My friends own it. And I said to him, I go, listen, before we go, I just want to be clear. If you think you're going to cry, if you feel like you're not up to it, I don't want you to cry in front of me. Like, I'm like the worst. When somebody cries in front of me, I sit there like,
I could see
I
that.
don't know what to say. I'm not comforting at all. And it makes me really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I like that your operation manual says when somebody is so distraught that they're crying in front of you, your manual says, turn to page 16. It says, do nothing, widen your eyes, stare at them, and lean back and let your body language know that now you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was like, please don't. It's fine if you're going through this. Obviously, it's a major ordeal, but like, we don't have to hang out. He's like, no, I would really like to get my mind off things. I'm like, all right. So he meets me at this winery. We end up having like a fantastic time. We spend the entire day together. Then the evening, he ends up staying over, and he's like, I'm super into him too. There was a couple of like weird things about him. Well, I guess, I mean, I'm not going to say his name, so I can say whatever I want, right? All right, here's a weird thing. So I said to him jokingly, because I had already done all the stalking. I knew what he looked like. I've watched his YouTube videos. Like, I knew what he looked like, right? But he was wearing a hat during the date, and he's like, I just feel like we're, like, this is a really solid, like, I'm really connecting with you. I really like you. And I was like, yeah, I like you too. And he's like, it's weird to feel this comfortable with someone after just spending like 6-7 hours with them. And he said, yeah. And he goes, how are you feeling? And I said, you've been wearing a hat this whole time. I'd like to see your hair. And I was just in my head I just thought it'd be funny because I knew he had a full head of hair because I'd seen all of his YouTube videos. Not all, but I'd seen enough of his YouTube videos to understand that he's working with all of his hair. And before he takes his hat off, he goes, well, I'm just going to let you know that it's a toupee. No. And I was like, wait, what? Why would you tell me that? It turns out it's not a full it is toupee hair in that it's like hair extensions. He gets it glued like every week, and he has to have like a special person cut his hair. And I was like, yo, dude.
Special?
Yeah.
What is it, a 3D printer?
Yeah. He told me during the pandemic, like he had to keep getting like the special haircuts, and like it was... look, it's
Special
wild.
haircut sounds like another
It
thing.
sure does.
Why is this haircut $380? Well, you have to go in that room for your shampoo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was
Special
just
haircut.
like, why wouldn't you just shave your head? He's like, because people trust people with hair. And I was like, I don't trust people with toupees. I should have run right then.
That's an interesting...
I was like, you're a liar. You're just a liar.
We're all liars, though.
I mean, but he didn't have, again, it wasn't like a full carpet piece. It was individual glued in pieces. I didn't understand it, but it sounded like it took forever. And he's like, girls have like extensions. And I'm like, yes, but they're working with some hair and they want it longer.
Well,
you should just lean in.
I have rich white friends that are in the show business, just like you do. And so I've talked to them about the process of doing the Bosley hair thing.
Yeah, I'm not just
Yeah, no, you're dead on, but it's not glue. The reason it takes forever is they take individual, like how much Adderall do you need? In individual hair, they take it from the back.
Yeah, but
and
that's
put it
different.
In the front.
I have a bunch of friends that did. That's fine. That's your own hair. My dad did that twice before. It was like he came home once with a turban on and there was blood, and I was like, Mom, what did Dad do? And she's like, he got hair plugs. Just ignore it. He did it twice. That's fine. That's your own hair. And yes, of course, it's a crazy surgery because they're literally it's plugs because they put holes and then they put the seed from each hair and they take it from down here. I asked him, why don't you do that? And he said, because there's a chance that if you take the hair from the horseshoe part that's actually growing, you could not grow hair there and then be like Beaker in the Muppets, like just have top hair.
Oh,
but
contractually, they're like, you said put hair right there. We didn't say anything about the back.
Well, look, there are a million things I would do before I went with. He's got a toupee that is individually glued in. I mean, I don't know the details other than what he told me, but I liked him and I was like, okay. And in my head, I'm like, okay, if this works out, I'm going to instruct him not to mention this ever to anyone because I cannot be dating someone with a toupee. And he was like a very manly guy otherwise. So we like hit it off. I liked him. He liked me, but he doesn't live here. He had pitched it to me like he spends half his time here. As it turns out, he Airbnbs his like fuck you mansion in the mountains and is never here. So he keeps keying with me repeatedly. And he's like, I'd really like to come. He doesn't say that. He just keeps, good night, good morning. And I was like, hey, I don't need this. It went on for like a month. I was like, I don't need a pen pal. I don't know what this is. You clearly don't live here half the time. I'm good. Like, there's no need to keep reaching out. You know me. Like, That stuff annoys the shit out of me. That is a waste. I don't like small talk. It's a waste of my time. And so he goes, well, when are you going? This is when I was going to Italy. He's like, when are you going to Italy? So I tell him, and I said, I'll be back on July, whatever it was, 5th. And he goes, okay. And then he just sends me a booked itinerary. He knew when I was landing from Italy. He's landing at the exact same time, and he's going to come stay with me for 5 days. Now, I have a bunch of things to unpack here. First of all, do you think I want to get off an international flight and powder my kuka in the local, the airplane restroom to meet you, a person I don't know at all, in the airport? I mean, it was a nightmare scenario to me. Like, I was like,
horrible.
Yeah, why? No. And I'm on a crazy jet lag, right? I want to come home. I haven't been home in 2 weeks, and now I'm coming home and entertaining him. Like, it was such a, and all of my friends, like my best friend Franny was like, why wouldn't you just say no? No, book a different trip. And I was like, because I don't know. He booked it already. And she's like, he has a lot of money. He could just rebook. And I was like, I was excited he was coming. And she's like, this is so inconvenient. So he comes and he visits me. And and this is what reminded me of this whole thing. So he was very open about like what he likes and doesn't like sexually. And I felt a little bit like, maybe you give me some time to discover this rather than
laying it all out. Like,
it was very like,
plans
it wasn't
for a strip mall. Like, yeah, like let's have some excitement here.
He's giving me stories about like things he did with his ex that I'm like, I feel like this is
I wouldn't want that
unnecessary.
At all.
Anyways, here's the crux of the situation. When we spent a night together in his mountain property when he was visiting, and when we went, we were getting intimate. And he was like, he had asked me before this if I was cool with him trying some stuff. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but I'm never going to say no. So I'm like,
I'm always saying no.
I'm like, listen, I'm not into pegging but like, I'm gay. I'm thinking I'm like sort of not remedial with this stuff, but like, I'm thinking he's, I don't know, maybe role play or I don't know. And then we started having sex and he spit directly in my mouth. And so I didn't like that at all. And he's like, you said I could try.
I need you to stop talking. I need you to stop for a second. I don't think I've ever asked you to not talk on this podcast. I think I need some time to process that, because spitting is not trying some stuff.
And
it's considered a crime. It is assault. If you get into an argument at the ball game and you spit in somebody's face, you can sue them for assault, no different than if they hit you with a sucker punch in the bathroom. That's not trying some stuff. Okay, so now you can talk again.
Okay.
I need you to take this. We're back in the bedroom.
Yeah. So
the second after that happens, where's your head at? What do you do?
Right. So to be clear, he's on top of me, and we're like,
I gather that for gravity purposes.
Yeah, and he didn't. I want to be clear. He didn't spit at me or on. He spit directly into my mouth.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't want to be uncool here, but I did not like this. I did not want your spit. Like, we can kiss, but I don't need you to put like directly. I didn't know what to. I just spit it out onto his pillow.
In the age of COVID.
Yeah. It was so gross. But then I checked because I was like, look, like there's been a few times where I've had to check with my girlfriends because I've done some things that were just like I didn't read the situation right, and then I would ask my girlfriends.
I'm still in shock over here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be professional.
I called one of my best friends who's gay, and I mentioned this because he said to me, he goes, that man is gay. That is the biggest gay porn move. Heteros do not spit in each other's mouth. That is a very gay thing to do.
I would agree with that. I don't know about the gay porn move, but
he's like, he had to have learned that from gay porn.
I would say that I know a lot of homies. I've known hundreds
of them.
Homos. And so like I've never heard of one of my boys being like, and then I spit in her mouth, though. Everybody's like, if you said that in a car full of Black men, Latino, white, all mixed, United Nations, no one's like, cool, bro. Right. Everybody be like, yo. Like, as soon as they'd be like, okay. And then as soon as you got to cut, like, what's up with your boy?
Yeah. So I didn't love that. But yada yada, I'll just finish this story out so you guys have the ending here. So he stays with me for 5 days, in which time I go with him to see all of his friends because he's originally from Colorado. He's got, we're meeting these friends and then these friends. It was my goddaughter's birthday. And when I tell you, my best friend Julie holds a birthday party for her for adults only where her dad is the bartender. Her dad's an incredible bartender. And there's no children at this party. The only child at this party is Drew, my goddaughter. And it's an adult, it's just a bunch of adults. And so I asked him, hey, if you want to come to town those 5 days, that's fine. This is what I have to do for 3 hours on Saturday is go to my goddaughter's birthday. It's going to be amazing food, amazing cocktails. My best friend's awesome and her 2 sisters were in town. He's like, if it's okay with you, I don't want to go. Yeah. And I was like, I mean, okay. A little annoying that you've dragged me to meet all of you. You're staying with me. It's rude. It was rude.
And this is a party. This isn't like the DMV. I might be getting some test results, and I want you in the waiting room for me. Can you come to this dope party? Okay.
It also
strange.
wasn't tumblebees. We're not going to a gymnastics place. It is just adults drinking. It happens to also be her birthday.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, if you don't mind, I don't want to go. Let me back it up. He had a vasectomy, so he's very anti-kids like I am. And I understand. I'm anti-children too. This was not a children's party. There was one child that would be there. So
that sounds like there might be a court order in place where we cannot have kids within 500 feet. Mm-hmm. Oh, Jesus.
So, all right, I'm a little miffed, and now I have to go into the lion's den of my best friend, her sisters, her parents, my second family, and they're like, "Where's the guy?" I'm like, he didn't want to come, and they were like, "Wow." Couldn't just take 3 hours and
that's a super wow dog.
Mm-hmm. So I was a little off on him, but nevertheless we're still talking, and he's he was going down to South America for a wedding. He's going to Colombia.
Are there going to be children at that wedding?
I hope not. I guess once you travel out of the country.
God, lots of rules for this guy.
Mm-hmm. So we're talking, I knew the couple because he made me meet them while he was here. That was getting married. I'm talking to him. He brought mushrooms. He's telling me about that. And we go back and forth. And then he just stops returning all text banter. I thought, honestly, maybe he was in a Colombian prison, Colombian hospital. I mean, I didn't do a whole lot of research. I was just like, all right, something's wrong.
Right.
And
I would like to see that version of Taken with Liam Neeson where just somebody's missing. He just it seems weird, but he does no investigations. He's I text and they ain't hit me back. So I don't know what's up with your daughter. That's a very strange.
Well, so let me round out the story with,
Please.
After a month of me not hearing from him, thinking he's probably been kidnapped or something, I get this. Hey, you. I'm so sorry for falling off the map on you. Life has been a whirlwind. Oh, okay. Tell me what happened. Something must have happened. As chance would have, I connected with someone well in Colombia, and she lives 10 miles from me in Florida, and we have been seeing a lot of each other. Excuse me? What? We were fully dating. What is this? And then he says, it sort of pulled my mind away from almost everything over the past month, and I'm finally taking time to clear my head and my plate. How are you doing? Okay, so I'm part of clearing his plate. This man I was actively dating him, I thought. We were talking every day. He flew out here to spend time with me. We went to his house in the mountains. I met all of his friends. What the fucking shit is this?
You're saying too much already. I'd have just text back, bro, you spit in my mouth. We're together. Yeah. This is common law married in 16 states.
Yes.
That is so transgressive.
Hold on. One more thing. Yeah. Wait. Okay. So, by the way, I did respond to him, and I just wrote in all caps, unsubscribe. That's all I responded with.
I love you so much. That's such a great response.
Yeah, I know.
That's so dope.
And then I blocked him, so I don't know what happened to him. But before I get into this, so after he spit in my mouth, you're asking what my response was. I spit it back onto the pillow, and I was like, don't do that again.
You said that?
Yeah. I was like, don't do that again.
And that's when you guys broke up. You didn't know that, but he was like,
mentally,
I'm done with this one.
I am only going to be with someone who repeatedly lets me spit in their mouth. So we were in the car. We had a long...
And that's how we kicked things off. So that's going to be baby
That was
steps.
night one.
Imagine where you'd be in 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'd like you to meet this guy. He's just over there gargling with scope. La 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 la.
So we were talking. I was trying to seem sexually advanced. I'm not, but I'm certainly not at that level. So I said to him that there's this really cool sex shop that I like that is in a cool area of Rhino on Larimer Street. So I was like, hey, like we're going to have brunch. I wanted to take him to my favorite brunch spot over there. I said, I'll take you over to the sex shop after that and maybe we could get a toy or something. He goes in on $300 worth of toys, which sex toys are expensive, so it's not that much. But we are there for hours talking, all right, well, this vibrates when? How long does the battery last? I mean, there was like extensive conversation. Well, he doesn't come with me on my goddaughter's birthday. He was leaving the next day. And he claims he wasn't feeling well that night. And so we don't end up using the sex toys. He ended up having COVID, actually. So, yes, he spit in my mouth and he had COVID.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
But wait, Al, he goes, he's packing his stuff in the morning and he packs the sex toys and takes them home with him. And I was like, you bought those to use with me. We stood there talking to the lady to help us pick them out. And now he's using them with some bitch he met in Colombia.
Is he?
Or
is he? I'm going to tell you this. I'll tell you this, Corinne, and I don't say this bragging at all. It's just because of my line of work. And, I've always said I've gotten and batted out of my league a lot in terms of like number of partners and looks of partners just because my job title, I'm always leaving, so like women like that because I'm not going to stick around and like, oh yeah, I went home with Corinne. Let's just say she going like women have to protect their reputation, unfortunately, in this misogynist society. So I would say this. I've been with a large number of partners and never once have I within the first year gone to buy sex toys with them. And then I keep them rather than you keep these and I put some tape on it to make sure you haven't opened it.
Right, whatever. But like
nobody's ever done that unless it's for them.
It was so wild. So, I don't know. May he rot in hell. But yeah, that was a long tangent. But
that was not a long tangent. I feel like we could end the show there. We're not going to.
Well, you know why? Because I have 2 more contestants for Bang or Buy that I haven't gotten to. I've prepped this game.
This game is amazing.
Thank you. Okay, contestant number 2. He's coming into me through LinkedIn.
All right.
Now, first of all, what do you think about sliding in to LinkedIn to hit on somebody? Because I don't like it.
Risky. I'm not on LinkedIn because I don't even know I know what it is, but I wouldn't. What's my profession? I'm a comic. Nice legs. I don't know what you're even supposed to do on LinkedIn. But it's just risky because if somebody's like, don't hire this person, they're a sexual predator, that's one thing, or like sexually aggressive. But it proves their point when you're like, they're sexually aggressive. Look what he said to me on LinkedIn. It's a different modicum than like, doing it even on Instagram.
So my big gripe with LinkedIn is that everyone's headshot is from 10 years ago. I cannot see no information is given other than where you work, which I don't really give a shit about. So unless you're like Elon Musk on LinkedIn, like right. I'm not interested. You're not going to get to me through LinkedIn, and it's just annoying. Now, I don't find this to be sexually aggressive, and he's at least got. Well, let me read the message. We're just going to call him Tay for short.
Okay. And hold it in front of the mic so you're facing the mic. There we go. So keep
Okay. So Tay says, "Hi there. I don't know how to say it. It's totally unprofessional and not a nice way to approach here, but I saw you on a dating app. And then I looked you up on Google. I'm really interested in getting to know you. I live in Scottsdale and would love to talk to you soon." So he's admitted, I immediately took my company off of my dating I didn't realize you could just go Corinne at my company and then I pop up on LinkedIn and then but yeah, he slid into my LinkedIn. So do we say?
You know what? I want to, obviously, you know me, I keep it 100 and, I shoot down because I can spot weirdos from a million miles away. That just seems like a person that genuinely is interested in you and he took the next step. It's not like he's like, I saw this.
He did claim it.
Yeah, he claimed it, and it's not like, for me, I'm too lazy. If I saw you, I'd be like, man, she is fine up. She went in that building. Too late. That was our relationship. I'm not making another second move. So, like, the fact that he did, I kind of like that. So
one of the problems I have with this whole, like, sending somebody a message on LinkedIn because, so you, on Bumble where he saw me, which is, like, that, Hinge doesn't change where you're at, so it had to have been Bumble. He saw me on Bumble because I was in Scottsdale, and he swiped right. I still have the opportunity to see him, even when I come back to Denver, and I could also swipe right. Because that's all the bank of people you're seeing, Franny taught me this, the bank of people you're seeing is everybody who's either said yes or hasn't seen you yet, right? And so I would swipe right, potentially on him. Would
you have swiped on him?
No.
Okay.
But here's the problem with this. He's taking it like the decision is upon him to really shoot his shot. And the reality is, I was going to come across your profile on Bumble and could have organically been like, yes, interested. But you didn't give me a chance to do that. You snuck into my LinkedIn DMs before I could. And so I'm going to have to say bye to this one too.
I didn't think about the bump because that is a way to bypass your ability to swipe left potentially, is to go on LinkedIn, which you cannot swipe left on.
Right.
And I guess you could not hire the person. That's the equivalent of swiping left. But yeah, I think that was a very, now that I think about it, that was it's ingenious because if you weren't as thoughtful as you were, you'd be like, oh, we must have missed each other. It's like, no I would have seen you.
Yeah, that's not how Bumble works. I will see you in my pile.
Okay, so I think we're going to have to say bye.
Yeah. I mean,
I think we're going to have to say bye.
As we all know from my Tommy Dewey story, I do shoot my shot once in a very blue moon, but I don't do it after I think you have ignored me on a dating app. Like I did, like that's bad. That's bad business.
Yeah.
And now we'll get to the third guy who I did something. I'm the one that did the wrong thing with.
Okay, we have 2 byes so far.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think this is probably out of my hands at this point. But okay, so first of all, let me tell you, his profile, he wrote, so one of the prompts I'm only on Hinge. Well, I mean, that's not true. Because of this podcast, I got on Facebook dating and I can't get off of it.
You're
and
on Facebook dating?
Yes, but I keep matching with people in like Kansas.
Uncle?
It's so boomer.
Doing?
It's terrible. I can't get, it will not let me get off of it.
I'm embarrassed to go on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, well, not me. I'm very into Facebook, but I don't want to be on Facebook dating and I can't get off. There is no unsubscribe. I can't. It's Club Joy all over again. I can't get out of it.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. All right. So I see on Hinge.
I feel a Patreon show coming out with your Facebook dating, just Facebook dating.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay,
we could
we'll
definitely
talk after. Yes.
Okay. So his prompt for Hinge, it says 2 truths and a lie, and he wrote in, "I have been voted off an island. I was once roofied at the airport. I just got back from a week-long Tantra retreat in Tulum." So 2 truths and 1 lie. And I'm like, I have been voted off an island twice. I also know a lot about roofies.
Right.
So I thought, I sent him a rose and sent the first message. And I thought, okay, he'll figure out that I was on Survivor, right? Like he made that funny joke, I was voted off. That's obviously the lie.
Right.
He wasn't. I would know if he was on Survivor, and he's not. And I thought, oh my God, what are the chances me, an actual 2-time ex-Survivor, sees that? Come on, man.
And thinks it's funny.
Yeah. And he's so good looking. So he likes me back, and I was like, do you want to get drinks? Because that's I'm not trying to, I don't need to talk to you. You can learn about how I got voted off an island over a drink. He said yes, and I thought, great. Well, he put, this is on you, Cameron. He put, I don't care, he's never going to talk to me. He put his Instagram handle in his profile. Well, I was on an airplane when this whole thing went down, and I was bored. So I go to his Instagram because I'm like, let me see more pics.
You have to justify.
So I get pretty deep in the Instagram. I don't think anything of this. I'm like, oh, actually, I'm going to ask you after the show. He has an ex-girlfriend that's apparently a stand-up comic. So I'm like, oh my God, great. Like he gets humor. I'm like, I've fallen in love with this guy. This seems like a great match. So whatever. I went all through his Instagram looking at all kinds of shit. I don't think anything of this. I'm talking to my best friend Eliza, and I'm like, yeah, I got this guy. Potentially, like, we're supposed to go get drinks. Isn't this a funny prompt? And when she wants me to send her a picture, I decide I'm going to go back to the Instagram well and grab some of the pictures to send to her. Al, I scroll down and I see a fucking red heart. I liked some pictures. I don't know how on the airplane. It's like it is the exact same as the LinkedIn. I jumped the line. I went and was like, pick me. I liked a bunch of your stuff on Instagram. I am so horrified. She was like, this is so rookie. Like, how did you possibly do this? I'm like, it's the goddamn United Airlines Wi-Fi. I for sure didn't like anything. I just must have.
Are you blaming this on United Airlines?
United. I'd like to be refunded for this flight because you ruined my life.
That is so thirsty. Like there should be
it's so
a
bad.
Kenyan a mile ahead of you in the Boston Marathon and somebody handing you Gatorade while you're running with something a number pinned to your stomach. That's how thirsty that is.
And he has yet to respond about us getting drinks. I know, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's not like I liked a picture at the top. No, it's 40 pictures down from 2012. Like so bad.
It's like him at the Obama inauguration. You're like, you look hot here. Ooh.
I mean, I'm just like, I don't know how it happened. Okay, it is United's fault. It's 100% United's fault. Okay, but all right. Now in his profile, he has a link, okay, to a website. Okay, I guess I'll leave the name of the website out. We're not trying to promote this website, but I'm going to tell you enough about it. You probably can find it. So I was like, what is this website? And it says, which I hate this, it says public figure in his description. And I'm like, are we though? You have 2,500 followers. Are you a public figure to your mom or... Step aside. The real public figure is here. Okay, but he also puts creator of the
Step aside. There's a real public figure here.
It's a real public embarrassment here is what we have.
Goodness.
Okay. He says, creator of the consciousness multiverse theory. And I was like, huh? So then I go to the link, and the link then brings me to this page. Give me a second to get through this. The consciousness multiverse theory posits that our universe is one of a seemingly infinite number of universes within a larger consciousness multiverse. The consciousness multiverse as a whole represents the sum of all possible subjective experiences of the entities within it. I don't know what that meant. That's word salad, but I keep reading.
I'm so mad right now.
It gets worse. The Z-source is the primordial unit of information acting as the source of all consciousness and the building blocks of all reality. The Z-source as the primordial unit of information only exists as a result of its expression. I will not go on. I don't know what I've read this 16 times. I don't know what it means. I still would like to go on a date with him. He was very hot and he is not reaching out to me. Do I join this multiverse?
No. Because if you don't, we'll have to stop the podcast.
Yeah.
That is how much I'm so sick. Corinne, please let me stretch my legs here for a second. Because I want to talk to all the dudes that like to listen to these long form podcasts where all these guys get high and they talk about stuff like the multiverse and is this world that we live in a simulation? I don't know, bro, because it makes you seem smart. It makes you seem smart to sit around and talk about that. You know why you have time to sit around and think about that and hypothesize about things that may or may not be, but you never really know the answer? It's because your grandparents and your great-grandparents worked themselves to death, literally died in their 50s and 60s, had their hands crushed by machines because they wanted to make sure that their kids and now their grandkids live better than they did. And congrats, grandparents. You guys are right. Now your grandkids have enough time to sit around and discuss whether you existed or not.
Yeah.
It is such a weak move and like it's like the kind of people that go, oh, you studied public health in college? I studied 18th century French lit. Oh, that's cool. When's that going to come into your... It's that pretentiousness that people hate with higher education. I went to grad school. My friends went to Harvard and Brown. They never talk about stuff like that. Only you whack folks do. It's such a whack. It's such a waste of education to do that. That word salad crap. Have we ever talked about the Z uniform as it relates to the Y parallel? Shut up.
Yeah.
I hate that.
You know that if I had drinks with him, it would be strictly because 100% this is going to come up. I mean, he needs more followers.
If you did record it.
I know. Well, I've looked into the Colorado recording laws, and I can publicly record any date I go on.
It's a one-way.
It sure is.
Yes, the other party does not have to agree.
That's right.
Says one dirt bag to the other.
I know. Unfortunately, now I've said so much about this on the podcast, he's definitely not meeting me. But I would like to say this is our third candidate in the new game, Bang or Buy, and I would bang.
Oh, my gosh. We're going to have to do a hard split here. You know how, like, with the highway either goes left and you go to California, or right and you go to New York? Like, you're going to New York. I'm
going to the multiverse, friend.
I am leading. I'm walking away from that multiverse. But shout out to all you guys having those podcasts, wasting your time. Think about all the real dudes that came before you. Think about your uncles that were so tired when they got home they couldn't even take their boots off before they fell asleep in their chair. Like, because they were that physically exhausted from what they did all day. And now think about you sitting around with other rich kids with a health insurance plan you got off the internet, and you now have time to discuss. It just makes it's such a weak.
I can see it's really upsetting you.
It's so weak. I hate that. I hate fake intellectualism. I really do.
Yeah,
I hate that.
It is that you nailed it. It's fake intellectualism.
It's fake intellectualism.
It sure is. But I could give a shit. Actually, what I don't like is that you've started a blog.
Oh.
You know what? Here's the thing. If you crack the code, why don't you keep it to yourself? You figured it out. Like the idea that you're going to have to shout it from the rooftops, that's the part that I don't love. Anywho, I'll let you guys know. Keep tabs if he ever responds. I mean, he's got to be podcasting about this nut job that liked his photos on Instagram before he could even respond with a place to meet.
Oh, well, I mean, who's to know that you responded in this simulation?
Oh my God, Al, that's...
In the other universe where Tupac is still alive, you didn't do that.
It's not United's fault. It's the Z source. It's the primordial whatever words. Yeah.
Oh, so such a weak move. Anyway.
Well, I have one quick story that will take me 2 seconds, but I was at this conference.
No, take 3. This is a podcast. This is what it's for. Let's chat it up.
I was at this conference in Arizona, and I never get to leave the hotel. I have to take clients out to dinner. I am in a booth working and or attending sessions the entire time from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and then I have dinners every night entertaining the clients that are there. So it's not like
you sound like a high-end madam.
I know.
I never leave the hotel. I'm at a booth taking care of the other people, and then I have dinners all night.
Handies and blowies.
Make sure these girls aren't too coked out. No, you're the one just making sure you're like, hey, there's coke around your nose. And if you're late again,
get it together, Liz.
Guy said you passed out in the shower. He's not paying for that.
So I am at this conference, and I'm standing there at the welcome reception the first night, which is like from like 6 to 7 p.m. It's all the doctors and all of the vendors. And it's like a 500-person conference. It's not super small, but it's not super big. And also what the madam says as she's sending the prostitute in. So I'm standing there like in my area, like by my booth, and everyone is in conference attire. Like it's not suits, but you're dressed like appropriately. And all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye on the left-hand side, I just see a group of the hottest guys I have ever seen walk in. They clearly, basically,
when you say group, how many are we talking?
15 of them. And I am like, is this like a mirage? Like I'm just in like a place where everyone's just not very attractive and like they're just looking. I was like very confused. They were so tall. They were all wearing like gray sweats, like so good looking. And what happened is this is a very expensive resort we were at. However, they didn't like lock the doors where the reception was. And so these people were just coming in from outside and thought they would shortcut through and didn't realize there's like a full reception of, medical societies. So they walk through, and you could tell they're like a little uncomfortable as they're walking through, and everyone acts as though this isn't happening. Like this is the simulation I'm living in. I am looking like mic checking left, right. Like, does anyone else see this? Is anyone else? What the fuck is this? I mean, high, nice asses in these gray sweat, just good looking dudes, all really built and tall. And I was like, I don't know what's happening here, but I am a caged animal. I can't go anywhere, and I have a dinner after this. So there's no point at which I can like just follow them to wherever they're going. Or you seem lost. Can I help you?
You should just pick your booth up and walk it a little bit, like
totally
like Fred Flintstone's car. And just, it's okay. All right.
Yeah, I just was like, what are they doing here? And it's not, thank God, it's not a Gaylord. It's a real hotel that has real other people. But like the majority of the people staying in the hotel are obviously there for this conference. All right, next morning I wake up, I go down, I'm about to go, I go to the gym in the morning. I wasn't going to the booth yet. I go to the gym in the morning, and I see there's like a ticker, like a board of all the meetings and where they're taking place in which rooms. And I see Major League Spring Baseball meeting.
Oh.
And I missed it. So I saw what I know now were a bunch of Major League fucking baseball players, and I could do nothing with it. And it was some kind of spring training meeting because they spring train in places like Arizona, apparently.
Yes. Yes.
I am so upset with myself.
The only place besides Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, coincidentally, on this same night, I come back from my dinner, and the hotel has left me a card that's under the door that says, first of all, the title is Feel Good. And then inside it says, an amenity has been arranged for your enjoyment and can be delivered at your convenience. Please contact Service Express by dialing 0 from your in-room telephone when you're ready. And I was like, oh, I'm ready. Where's that team?
This is hot.
I wait up an hour after I've taken my Ambien for whatever is going to be. It's chocolate covered strawberries. Is it wine? It was fucking brochures for the conference.
Shut up.
People selling pharmaceuticals and shit. Yes, in a bag. A bunch of brochures in a bag. It was the most disappointing. Don't title the card Feel Good. feel good. Oh. The fuck are you talking about? Isn't that terrible?
That's and what I really thought like it was one of the guys that saw you. That
Would
was
have been
like
great.
it was his room key. Yeah.
Would have happily partaken in that.
Oh, what? Oh.
Any one of the 15 that walked through, all of them, they were all so hot. And now I know Major League Baseball players, so hot and have money and are
have
athletic.
Guaranteed contracts
Correct.
too. Oh.
Oh my God, I hate myself so much. And then the last story that I will tell you before we move on to another topic is that I did something so fucking cringy that I don't like. I don't know when I'm gonna not wake up and think about this because it's so embarrassing.
These are my kind of things.
So I have a problem with face recognition. Okay, I don't know if I have face blindness, but I have to know you to remember your face. Period. End of story. I do not have any extra bandwidth. There's no randos in the pile in my brain. It's got to be that, like, I really know you. Otherwise, your face goes into Never Never Land. So I'm walking in the conference, and I see a doctor that, like, I thought was this doctor I had been trying to see from a center that I hadn't seen yet. And I, like, excitedly run up to him, and I'm like, hey, how are you? Did you go out for dinner last night? You know, I went to Tommy Bahama's. Like, I'm just trying to make I'm trying to, like, you know, make conversation, but I know I don't have a lot of time to do it. And I'm going to get to the part where I'm like, hey, I'd like to get a meeting with you, da-da-da-da. But I'm trying to, like, open the floor up a little.
Right.
And this man looks at me and he's like, I went to Tommy Bahama's also. I was sitting next to you for that dinner. Al, I don't know what major malfunction, if it's the Ambien. I have never felt so embarrassed, like, to be me in my life. Like, I very rarely feel regretful. I just looked at him. I was like, I am so sorry. You look like another doctor. And there's so many doctors here. And he's just like, he sat next to me and talked to me.
Oh, he talked to you too?
For 3 hours. He was the guy. We were at an 18-person dinner. He's the guy to my immediate right, who I asked all these questions about Ozempic. I just want to say that there's no amount of hate you can spew at me to this particular physician, to anyone out there listening. I hate myself so much for doing this. And I can't, the second it happened, I was like, I can't do anything here.
You're done.
I'm done. This is, and I wonder, does that happen to you?
You know what I call that? And I'll explain if that's happened to me, but like when this is one of those rare situations that this analogy is perfect for. Because people don't get this and they try and clean it up on aisle 6.
Yeah, I couldn't clean it up.
There's going to be a time in your drinking life, especially if you go hard, where you're either going to get so drunk you fall off your bar stool or one of your friends is going to fall off their bar stool. And they'll try and stand up and set the stool up and sit. And it's like, no, the night's over.
Right.
You don't recover from falling off of your bar stool. You pay your tab and you walk out. There's no discussion. If you promise to buy a round of drinks, you buy those and you leave. You fell off your bar stool.
I did.
And you left.
I did.
You didn't try and clean it up like,
No.
You know what? The other doctor looks like Tom Cruise too. No. You're just like, hey, this is done.
Yeah.
I respect it. There's a time and a place where everybody's going to fall off their bar stool, literally or figuratively, and you accepted it. Respect.
And that is a perfect analogy. And I just want to say, I had like maybe one drink. I wasn't like I was drunk. We're not talking about low lit. Tommy Bahamas is very well lit.
Right.
I could see him perfectly fine. I just didn't. I didn't put the little index card back in the Rolodex. Like my brain was like,
Yes.
doo-doo-doo. Like that face is gone.
I will say this, and it's very weird because I have no scientific basis for this, but I wonder if I won't say this is unique just to people that are in entertainment, but I remember we did a story on Daily Blast Live, watch it every day, my talk show, 6 seasons, that's what's up. And we did a story on Brad Pitt, and he said that he has face recognition blindness. Like
Great. Well, that's what I have.
Right.
How do I get it? How do I get legally determined to have had that?
I don't know if it's something that can go on your license, but I will say this, because of you and I's workplace, it's not like, oh, so many fans. Every time we go to work, there's a different cameraman, there's a different director, there's a different pilot, there's a different front desk agent. Everybody, even your friends.
There's so many faces.
It's so many faces, and they say the human mind is only supposed to keep, I think, 50 names in your head at one time, like that aren't your family. And so, like, ours is constantly getting jumbled because I live in L.A. for these 4 years.
Yes.
I live in New York. I'm in Gabon fighting for my life. But there were people you met there, people that brought you bottled water.
Cameramen there, yeah.
And then you never see them again.
No.
So your mind, in a weird way, trains itself to be like, I cannot grow attachments to anything because the people that like stay in their hometown, and this is no shade. Sometimes your hometown, Chicago, whatever. You stay in your local area. You're like, there's my bartender. Oh, let me ask him about the Red Sox.
The
or
deli
the
meat
Cubs.
counter guy.
You see the same kinds of people. But for us, it's always a different person, a different set of directives, and it's just like, I think after a while, because I have the same thing, it's not personal, but like, I definitely have it. I never, because I was like, I don't have anxiety with it, but I definitely get anxiety. Like if you were to come to my job or like a party at my job and I had to introduce you to people, even though they're people I work with forever and I obviously know your name, I would panic and think that I was going to forget.
Yes.
And it's like and then it's like this weird thing where people are like, yeah, I sit next to Al. I have for 5 seasons. It's a weird that's when it showed me like, oh, anxiety is a real thing. It just manifests itself in different ways. But I have introduction. Oh my God, what's this person's name? Are they going to think I'm an asshole? Yeah, and it's like, I know you, dude. I have a mental health issue. I don't know.
That is the truth. It is a mental health issue because this guy was fantastic. I enjoyed the conversation very much. There's no reason for me not to. It's definitely something's wrong.
Yes.
Upstairs for me. It's not a reflection of. It's not like your conversation wasn't stimulating or that I didn't enjoy it. It's none of that. I'm just.
Right. And see, I could see like even flight attendants having this because they work with different flight attendants. They work with different pilots. And so, like, I would assume pilots would overlap more than even flight attendants, depending on the region and whatever, how distance. I don't know how that shit works. But, yeah. So, that is...
I'm horrified, and I live with this every day now. Yeah. I wake up, I think about it. I go to bed, I think about it. I'm so fucking upset about it.
Those are the worst ones when, like, there's nothing where you can even... argue on your side, even in your own head. He was
so nice. I mean, he's a nice person, and he was so nice about it. But like, I wouldn't have been so nice if, that's so bad.
And see, this is where I would disagree with you. I would think you would because you'd be like, dude, I have that too. Don't worry. Because if I met somebody that had the same thing I do, I'd be like, oh my God, hey, bro, it's okay. You don't know my name because I didn't know your name. It would really be reassuring. Like, I need to start a support group. Because it gives me anxiety if there's like a charity ball. I'm like, oh shit.
Yes.
What's the director's name? His wife. I know her. We have that same joke about Campbell's soup or whatever. We make it every year. Like whatever. But I'm like, oh, is it Jill? Is it Lillian? It's something that really affects how I socialize. It's really weird. So just you saying that, I'm like, I feel your sister. Jesus. Mary and Joseph. Okay.
Okay. So anyways.
All right. I need to talk to you.
Okay.
Because this happened yesterday, and I can't stop thinking about it. And I don't know. I guess my question to you is, how do you maybe it's just time, but how do you like clear a conversation you've had with somebody where they say something that's instantly jarring to you that they've had time to process and you haven't?
Like they murdered someone?
Almost not that, but like analogous. So like yesterday. Me and the lady, one of her friends was sick, so we took her friend some ramen and some cold cam. And when we're driving back,
what the hell's cold cam?
Cold cam's like,
like medicine.
It's like airborne.
Oh,
it's like
So it doesn't do anything.
Does nothing.
Sure.
It was like if you get it early, it's like you said about vitamin C though. But I think it's more like if you think it works, it does.
It's placebo, yeah.
And so we dropped the ramen off in front of her door, and we're headed back, and we see a second hand. I found a second hand. If anybody's seen my crib, I love mid-century modern furniture. I love that era. I like that dress, all that. So I found like a warehouse knockoff. Like some of those furniture stores, they're just like barely it's just like they just buy stuff from, and it's like coming. There's no rhyme or reason.
They're like, here's a wagon wheel we made into a table.
Yes, it's just clearly stuff that they've gotten
repurposed. Yeah,
repurposed is a nice way to put it.
Yeah,
and like, there was just a pathway. Like the dude was a hoarder. It was a big warehouse kind of thing. So I love the stuff in there. And we're walking out, and he's like, hey, I'll sell you these chairs for this amount. And I was really close, but I just don't have space for it. And so I'm talking to him, and I'm like, dude, how are you doing today? And he goes, no one ever asked me that. He goes, thank you so much. Like, I do try and have genuine conversations with people, and it's helped me so much in life.
Huh.
But he's like, no one ever asked me that. And I go, yeah, there's something behind your eyes, man. What's going on, dog? Like, we're having this conversation. And, Sar, I can say her name. Sar's with me. And so,
This is wild. This would never happen to me. Not ever. I've never asked somebody how they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't care.
He's just, and I mean, we are in a warehouse full of lamps and old pianos.
Were you at Rare Finds?
No.
Oh.
This is like Rare Finds meth head cousin that's from
I was gonna say,
like
Rare
right
Finds is
outside of
expensive.
Scottsdale. Like it's
Sure,
like,
sure.
It's their cousin that knows the guy that could kill a guy for you. Like that kind of place. And so we're talking, and he's he's kind of looks like he's had a hard scrabble life, but it owns his business clearly. And he's like, I'm just having a tough time. It's been less than a year since my wife died. And he was like, they ran this business together. I was like,
this is why you don't ask how someone's doing. This is awful. All of this is making me so uncomfortable.
And I go, oh man, it's terrible. Did you
kill her?
No, I was like,
please tell me someone's.
It's coming. So I go, did you have any heads up, or was it sudden? He goes, it was sudden. And I go, what happened? And he goes, my wife fell off the escalator at Broncos Stadium.
No.
Do you remember?
Of course I do.
Yes.
Oh my
God.
God.
That was this dude's wife.
No.
And
I have so many
questions. The
questions.
face you're making.
Oh my God.
I'm like, this is like at 1:30 on a sleepy Sunday afternoon, and my brain was not ready for this. And it was just like, we just had and he was like, I didn't go back to using. He was like, I'm 1,500 days sober. Shout out to you. And I talked about him.
Yeah.
Like I talked about like when my dad died, I went on a drinking binge and didn't realize it. So I was giving him props for that. But just like, what do you say to that? Because I got it. I was like,
I have so many questions.
Who called you? And he goes, her brother. Because he
Oh,
was
he
like,
wasn't
it's so
there?
no. He was at the store. They own that. They own that shop. So he's like, he wouldn't tell anybody because he's like he's raised not to like put his problems on anybody. So he said he would just go to that warehouse and just tear shit up and sweep up the glass before people got back.
Does he ride escalators?
I don't. Oh, that's the second.
I'm so curious if like, what is that? If like, I mean, there's so many escalators. Like I have to ride them all the time in the airport, at the mall. I mean, I'm on an escalator once a day, easy.
Yeah.
Every time I'm like, I gotta find an elevator. I can't.
I mean, if you had a family member or like your dad or somebody, like something happened, you would have trauma. And like let's be. And I think.
But also, I'm not the most coordinated person. I want to know how she fell off and how I can prevent myself from falling off because I definitely get scared. Look, you and I know I do not go to games where I'm going to have to sit in nosebleed seats.
Right.
But I do look at those stairs, like the ones at the basketball all the way, and I'm like, shit, man, like I would have vertigo. Like that's very high up.
Right.
How do you?
By the way, that's the most insulting thing you could say to people about their seats is by saying that they're brave by sitting there. I would get nosebleeds.
I mean, do you bring walking sticks?
Yeah.
Do you need
How do
an
you
oxygen
see
can?
from up there?
Yeah.
Why don't you just get to know the players like I do, and then you can go in the locker room? No, okay. Enjoy your life.
So insane. Do you choose to sit in these
Are you lightheaded right now? So dumb.
May I never, ever.
It's so dumb. But, there's no tea, no shade when I say this because your boy has been hammered before and done stuff that I should have definitely been killed doing. But my theory that I think is pretty well vetted is your girl had been overserved.
But
and she sat on the arm of the escalator and airplaned like, we're going down
downsies.
And we went on the other side.
I was envisioning that she fell forward on the escalator. You're saying she fell off like the side.
She fell over the side.
That makes more sense. So
yes.
Years ago as a kid, my father used to take my brother and I to Hawaii every year. He stopped doing that because of this particular incident. My brother and I got into a lot of fistfights and like we did not get along. And we were fighting, started out as an argument. And then I pushed him. We were on a huge escalator in the airport in Honolulu, or maybe it was Maui. And I pushed my brother. And what happened is my brother collided into my mom, and my mom fell down the escalators. Got all kinds of banged up.
Shut up.
And my father was like, "That's it. There will be no more family vacations." Yeah, and that's how we got.
Wait, how many stairs did your mom go down?
Quite a few. And they're metal. Those escalators are like not friendly to fall down. But she didn't die and she didn't fall off. I mean, she was still on the escalator. She was just doing that cartoonish tumble sort of situation.
Oh my goodness.
And my brother and I stood there like, oh, once she came to a stop at the bottom, I was like, this isn't good for either of us.
Your mom goes down the stairs. When we say
yeah,
bumps
that
and
story
bruises,
was over. My father canceled
how
every.
How hurt was she?
She was
not over
banged
for me.
up.
Like,
she didn't need stitches or anything, but she was banged up. I mean, she went down. It was a substantial amount that she fell down, and they are metal escalator stairs, you know? Yeah. So my father, like, tries to run to her aid and then fires. We never went on another family trip. That was it. That was it. I would like to get to, do you have a Yelp review for me?
Oh, I do. I wrote this Yelp review yesterday.
My God. Okay.
My girlfriend Sar is just, I hate the term when people go, I'm a foodie. She is a person that loves authentic food and like searches it out, but she's not on social media. She didn't need to tell the world. She just likes food for real.
Oh, she doesn't have a blog?
No, she just she just enjoys her life. It's so weird. She didn't need to tell people about it. We went to this incredible place here in Denver called Adobo, and I wrote a Yelp review about it yesterday. So the fact that we're doing this now is right on time. Let's do it. I set out to write a review about how dope adobo is, but this review isn't just about adobo. It's about you. Adobo had all the things that I look for when I go to a restaurant that claims to have authentic food. First thing I look for, it was clearly another building. In this case, it was a church. Check. The parking lot leaves a lot to be desired. Check. The staff is eclectic and random. Check. And the people who are cooking the food are passionate and clearly care about nothing else. Check. Food cooked. So what does this have to do with you? Obviously, we already know adobo is dope. Do yourself a favor and go there. In a world where people complain about...
He's not done.
No. Oh, no. In a world where people complain about a lack of quality options in a partner, have you ever thought about the fact that it might be you? And more specifically...
I have thought about that.
The food that you put in your body to fuel you. You don't like the people you're attracting. Well, maybe that's because your swag levels are low because you're eating swagless food. How much Chipotle can you put in your body before you're the person cracking whack jokes at the party? Still doing the Borat very nice in 2023.
That is the same person.
How much Panera bread have you put into your body? Food that tastes like it was made by YouTubers that preach abstinence until marriage. It's your fault because you won't take the time to find the dope shit, and that bleeds over into your dating life. So if you're reading this review in bed next to a person that's giggling watching The Big Bang Theory, ask yourself, where was the last place you ate? Then file for a separation online and go to Adobo. The food is amazing.
Wait, I used to, my dating app profile used to say, if you like The Big Bang Theory, please swipe left. I think you have to have no sense of humor whatsoever to think that show is funny.
I don't. It's almost so
such a bad
unfunny.
show.
I was like, is it a parody of a bad sitcom?
Right. Like, is it purposely this unfunny? And then
people love it, dog.
It's okay. I just want to say that I found this particular review offensive, or might I say, perhaps I could blame all my problems on Lean Cuisine. Because it sounds like I don't actually eat anything with any swagger. And I love the blame game. So perhaps it is not me. It is Lean Cuisine, who has refused a sponsorship for 20 years.
Will you go to Adobo with me and Sar? It's a lot of calories, but it's so good.
I don't do random sauces.
It's New Mexican food mixed with Filipino.
That's not a thing.
Yeah, I know it's not a thing, but that's like when you just know the girl's fine. Be like, yo, I met this girl half Filipino, half New Mexican. You know that girl's fine. Mm-hmm. Her name is like Christy De La Cruz or something. You're like, oh yeah,
you love the De La Cruz.
You know, yeah. Ooh. Yes. If you got two little lead ups to your last name, De La, something like that, you know you're fine.
Yeah, the Baron that I referenced a couple episodes ago, his last name started with Vaughn and then the last name. Yeah. You love a lead up.
That's why I love the World Cup, because you see all these last names from all over the world. You're like, that's your last name, dog? The god of the world is your last name? That's so dope. Mine's Jackson. I'm fascinated by names in other cultures. But yeah, That is that adobo was it was probably the best food I've had here in Denver. We have an email here,
Please.
which I'm gonna go ahead and say is my favorite subject title line of all time. Obviously, I've not pre-read this, but can I go ahead and read the title of the subject line of this email?
Before you do, I'm telling everyone, please write in at mysafewordismoreadvice@gmail.com. I will take your bang or buy situations. I will take advice questions. I will take any of your own Yelp reviews.
We have to tell the people bang or buy is now it is a stamped segment of the show, and we need your bang or buys to come in because we need stuff to argue about. So we saw on that last one we differed.
We'll
totally.
Vote
so yes,
to bang or to say goodbye.
And
if
also
you send us.
Tell us about what you think about who was right with the other bang. Is there anybody that bought the first two?
Yeah, you're into getting slid into your Instagram or your LinkedIn. Tell us.
I can see that.
So give me this.
The subject line for this email says, and it's something near and dear to your heart, my dear. I don't give a fuck about your kids.
Yes.
Did you hear that inhale? Did you hear that, Cameron? Because
perfect.
That is a person that just met her other person. Because that's how you really feel. It's not a shtick for the show. That's how you feel.
No.
And I think that's how a lot of people feel, and I appreciate the honesty. So let's go. Greetings and salutations, safe word. I like that. My name is Cameron. I am a day one Corinne fan and a newly acquired Al fan. What's up, dog? Appreciate you. I want to congratulate you both on your new endeavor and wish you all the best. I'm writing in today because I'm having an issue with straight people and their kids.
Yeah, preach.
Context. As we enter 2023, all those life decisions and alterations that we made during quarantine a few years ago are finally starting to make an impact in our day-to-day lives. For instance, I decided during quarantine that I was burning myself out, trying to be who I thought the world wanted me to be, not being who I really was. So I left my dance career of 15 years and started working remotely as a project manager back in 2021.
Aw, that makes me sad.
Well, 15 years of dancing, you might be like, I'm done here. I can see that. And have never been happier. That's what's up.
Oh, good.
Yes. I have been traveling more and on great anti-anxiety meds. And aside from the physical aspect, I don't crave the attention of men near as much anymore, which is very nice. My girlfriends, on the other hand, are a different story.
Wait, hold on. I thought you were going to say my girlfriend really enjoys that I don't crave the attention of men anymore.
Yeah.
I actually know which Cam this is now that you're reading it.
Okay.
Okay, go on.
All right, so this tracks to you.
Yes,
okay.
It does.
Very cool. Okay.
Hi, Cam.
Hi, Cam. It says, my girlfriends, on the other hand, are a different story. During quarantine, they all got pregnant, rightfully so. And since March of 2020, 4 of my girlfriends and my little sister have had a total of 7 kids.
No, too many. Just too many.
My sister due in April with the 8th. As you can imagine, this caused 2 years of showers, being extra careful with masks, and making plans to go see the kid, etc. To be truthful, it was a royal pain in the ass. As of recently, we have all started partying again, and the girls are driving me crazy. In their drunken state, they like to corner me and accuse me of not making an attempt as much as I could, or baby X needs to know their gunkle. That's, first of all, it's gross. And he says, I hate that term. There's more to me than my sexuality, and I need your kid to know that. I love that. That's a dope ass line. Just that last one. It's like I have a problem with that. All my gay friends are like, "This is my gay." It's like, dude, this is just my homeboy.
Yeah.
I don't care. I never think about him with his partner sexually. It's just like, this is my dude. Whatever. Okay, so shout out to you for that. Okay, so let me catch back up.
My best friend Matt got on my case a while ago, which I have ceased doing unless I'm telling a story where it would be important to know that he was gay. Like when I was telling you that he's the one telling me spitting in someone's mouth is only something. It's helpful to know that he's a gay man, so that's why I'll say it. But he really, really hates if I introduce him as my gay best friend. He's like, I'm your best friend. Right. There's no reason for you to put the word gay in front of it. And I was like, you're right. That's very accurate.
I would push back and just say I think a lot of times that's for, in a sad way, you having to cuddle the men in your life to be like, this guy's not.
It is.
So it's like just your defense. He's gay, dude. It's fine, because men are like, who's your trainer? You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, it's
that's
an
very true.
So, but that.
Okay,
that
go on. I hate the term gunkle too. I'm with you on that, Cam.
It sucks. Okay, I hate that term. There's more to me than my sexuality, and I need your kid to know that. Here's the thing. I have made what I deem to be an effort. I comment on the pictures. I'm nice to the offspring when I visit. But how do I say nicely, my life continues on, and I don't particularly give a fuck about your kids. Mm-hmm. I don't want to come to their birthday party. I don't want to come to their recitals or soccer games. I'm barely invested in those things with my own nieces and nephews, let alone children of my friends. How do I get them to accept that I don't care without losing their friendship? It may sound very selfish, but as a gay man in the South, I don't see kids as much of an option, mainly because the dating pool is slim pickings. Mm-hmm. So you just kind of write off that kids don't exist in your future plans. And while I'm happy for my friends and their adorable little darlings, I can't help but resent that I feel that they have followed the accepted normal path of life, that was in quotes, accepted normal path of life, while I have had to choose to still be single, be on the single merry-go-round, that is dating in your early 30s. Again, thanks for all of your advice, Corinne. So happy life is working out for you, exclamation point.
I don't know if I'd say that.
You're fine. Please know
What's your definition
your
of life
binders still hold a very high place on my shelf. A piece of Survivor lore that can never be replaced.
Yeah, and
much love all around, Cam.
Hi, Cam.
I already love Cam.
Yeah, so Cam, when years ago I used to do this like very big roast of the new Survivor cast. I since stopped doing it, but I did it, and then I would auction off the binder, which is the notes for each. Like I would roast each contestant, and I had all these notes. And he was the first person to ever buy it, and I used to auction it off every year. But since I've stopped doing it, I would think those have gone up in value. At least I hope.
Hey.
And he does definitely own a piece of Survivor history. He was like one of the first like fans I actually got to know because you got a phone call with me in addition to the binder.
Ooh.
And he's lovely. Yeah. So
I
Cam,
like Cam a lot.
Yeah, he's my tribe. Look, I think that the best route for me has been for probably 20 years I have been spouting that I don't like dogs, I don't like children, and I don't go to weddings. And so there's not a person in my life that doesn't know those three facts about me. So when someone has a kid, they know maybe I'll send a gift. I mean, maybe if I remember, but at no point do I want to meet your child. That's just the way it is. And it's not your kid in particular. It's a blanket thing. It's the same pretty much with weddings. And it's the same with the second. And I get so upset when like, I promise there's no one in my life. There's people who've sat next to me on an airplane that know I don't like kids. Like it's such a public piece of information about me. Yeah, that I will sometimes be politely like standing with colleagues and someone will be like, oh my God, you're not going to, my son hit a home run in his little league game, and then they'll go to take their phone out and they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot you don't like kids. And they're waiting for me to go, no, but let me see. And I'm like, thank you for respecting that boundary.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. I do not. I am super, super, super honest about it. And I think that the problem is you probably didn't set that up, or maybe you didn't know to, right? The pandemic just hit and everyone started having kids. But I've had this lead up where everyone knows this is the situation. No one's offended. Everyone just like understands that's the deal. And so you have to start servicing that public announcement out about yourself so that people hopefully respond in kind and they know this is barking up the wrong tree.
I completely agree with that. And I think that's the second half. And I'm going to like play a little, and you know Cam obviously much better than I do. But what I take from this email is that he feels like a little bit betrayed. And this is what I mean. If like, let's say we were in, like we lived in the segregated South back in the day, and it was me and three of my white friends. And we were all like, hey, we're outsiders here. Racism is fucked up. We don't get down with that. And then we walk up to a nightclub and the bouncer's like, you three can come in. Black dudes got to stay out. And they walked in.
Yeah.
That's what he feels like they did.
Yes.
Because I guarantee you they all sat around when they were single and drinking and doing drugs. Like, can you believe people have kids? I'm never going to be like that. I'm living in a cul-de-sac, please. I'm not getting married. We're going to do this forever. The four best friends. Let's pop bottles. We're brunching on Sundays. Forget the patriarchy, all that stuff. All cops are bad. All whatever, all that cute stuff is. But as soon as it got real, they went right to the path of the square, which is Southern living, kids, apple pie, and now all of a sudden, they still want to use him to show that they're progressive. Like, hey, come meet your gay uncle. It's like, yo, I was just Cam. Now I'm gay uncle. I think he's like, don't use me as your mascot, as like a reflection of your old fun life.
Right.
You have a boring life now. You chose that path, dog. So you do those diapers. You go through those recitals. You sit through Little League games. And I've been to some of those. They're 48 hours. Because nobody can catch the ball, and no one can
get on base.
If they make contact, there's no kid that has an arm strong enough to even throw it to first base. The chance of that kid catching it at first base are negative 20. So the games go on forever. And he's like, I don't want to do that. I still want a brunch. I still want to date. And as I'm getting older, it's getting harder to date. And I want to talk to somebody about that. And you guys bounced on me.
It's really hard. Mostly, it's not the kid that's so annoying to me. It's the way the adults act around the kid. Like, now you have nothing you can possibly talk about that doesn't link back somehow to you telling me about the kid. Like, once that nonsense starts, I just cut you out. But something that you might want to put into play, I did not do this intentionally, but it is something I would do intentionally. I have a friend who she had her first daughter, and she lived in Chicago, and the kid, I don't know, let's go with, is like 3 or 4, and she was pregnant with her second daughter, and she moved to Denver. And I wanted to take a photo shoot of my alpaca with a kid. There was no, let's not mince words. I was not trying to be like generous. And so I was like, hey, Erin, I wanted to know, is Sage old enough to like be around livestock? Like, I don't know what the rules with children are.
That's what you think.
Like
a normal question.
I don't know. How's her immune system? Like, so I'm like, so I keep texting her. I'm like, you haven't responded. Does Sage want to come and take some photos for me? And she just finally responds. She goes, well, her name's Harper. And the kid is like 4. And I was like, huh? And she goes, it's not Sage. I go, but I've been referencing Sage, not just in this text message, but in general, like, I don't know, like, you know, anytime I was like, how the pandemic, like how's Sage, she never corrected me. And then she finally had to be like, well, it's Harper. And I go, well, who's Sage? And she goes, I don't know why you thought I'm some hippie commune. I would not name my kid Sage. And I was like, well, I don't know where I got that from. She's like, me either. I go, why didn't you correct me? She goes, you don't care. And I didn't either. And I just feel like now it's come to a point where I have to say something. She's like, but I never felt like correcting you. I didn't really care. I know you don't care what her name is, clearly.
That's
and
respect.
So I'm not mad at purposely calling the wrong name out like I did. I mean, address a Christmas card this year to all wrong names. Wrong names only. Yeah. Just show the level of disrespect, the level of I don't care.
Yeah. And I really respect her answers. Like, I know you don't care. It's not that you want any harm to come to the child. It's
no,
just
she's like
I'd
it
rather
never
that.
occurred to me to correct you because I know you don't care at all. And I don't either. Like, I don't care that you don't care, you know?
Being honest about your relationship is like basically how we started this podcast. And unfortunately, how we're going to have to end it.
Right on.
Oh, man. I could talk to you forever.
Listen, we are going to start doing merch. I don't know when we're going to get it ready by. But one of the things I'd like to do, and Al, I have not told you this idea yet, but because I am not great with addressing cards, I got a bunch of Christmas cards sent back to me. Not a bunch, like 4, that were returned to sender. And I don't know why. I didn't bother to find out. But I think the first few people that order merch, I think we're going to also give them my alpaca holiday cards that I have left over signed. So we're going to make some fun giveaways for like the first, 10 pieces of merch that we sell. And those are coming soon. We're actually working on that today, post-podcast.
And we're also doing what post-podcast?
We're hot tubbing.
We're breaking the hot tub out, y'all. Yeah, I got it heated last week. And it's weird because my girl's here, Corinne's here, and my assistant, young Kel, as you guys know, we're on the podcast. And it's like, I feel like I'm just like that creepy dude in the 70s that's got a pool. And I don't get in the pool. I just sit in a lawn chair smoking in sunglasses.
Yep.
You guys stay in there as long as you want. And they're like, oh,
I'm like,
creepy
what's
man
that
Jackson.
red light? Is there a camera on?
Get back in. You're fine.
Okay, well, we love you guys, our little swimmers.
Yes. What a great podcast. Yeah. We can't leave without telling people where to find you, Corinne.
Right on. Corinne Sanity on Instagram. Corinne Kaplan on LinkedIn.
So Jewish, right in my face.
Yeah, and then TikTok at Corinne Kaplan. What about you, sir?
You can find me at Al Kaplan on you can find me at Al Jackson on Twitter, Al Jackson IG on Instagram, and Al Jackson 24/7 on TikTok. But with that said, guys, keep your head above water and
Chin up, you'll drown slower.
Yeah, you were supposed to say, and keep on swimming, my swimmers.
Shit.
Jesus Lord,
we
are leaving this in.
I can't get this right. Okay, keep on swimming.
All
Put
right.
your little floaties. What's the swimmies on?
Floaties.
The little wings on. Yeah.
You clearly don't care about kids.
I don't.
Keep swimming, y'all.
Love you guys.